The next company we're going to talk about, they were founded in 2006. Two brothers who couldn't find a cooler that held up, so they built one. Almost $1.9 billion in annual revenue, publicly traded on the New York Stock Exchange, in a brand that turned a cooler into a cultural institution. This is YETI. Nobody gets an igloo tattoo. Think about that. YETI sells coolers, drinkware, dog bowls, camp chairs. None of it feels random because it isn't. One organizing principle runs everything. Built for the wild. And that's what we're breaking down today. YETI doesn't sell drinkware. They sell a relationship with the wild, with the outdoors. And built for the wild isn't a tagline, it's really a constitution. Every product decision runs through that one question. Would someone take this into the wild? Would someone take this outdoors? Would it hold up when everything else fails? If yes, proceed. If no, pass. It's not going to happen. That's a decision filter, and that's brand as infrastructure. So coolers for fishing guides who can't come back to the shore, drinkware for ranchers up before sunrise, dog bowls for boats, truck beds, campsites. They don't make tents. Someone else owns that. They barely touch apparel. It's not their lane. The filter keeps them focused. Every product earns its place. So where do you see YETI? Well, we're not talking about product specs. We're not talking about influencers. We're talking about real people, real work, hard places. Fishermen in Alaska, pit masters in Texas, ranchers in Montana, a desk jockey in Nashville. The gear just happens to be there. That's not content, that's brand proof. But speaking of content, I would encourage you to check out their YETI Presents page. It is full of interesting, incredible, amazing, jaw-dropping content. Stuff that a guy like me who's stuck inside most of the day, all he wants to do is work so we can go outside and afford to do this stuff. So one of the things I love about these outdoor brands is they are all about the outdoors. They're all about sustainability, and YETI is no different. So they have a reharvest program, the old YETI gear recycled into new products. It's not virtue signaling, it's brand alignment. People who live in the wild care about protecting it. Even the name matters, reharvest. It's not recycling, it's not anything like that. It's a name that they own because it's in their brand. And the sustainability program runs through the same filter. So I work with a lot of companies and we talk about operating principles, which I think are for internal kind of wayfinding. It's internal accountability. That doesn't necessarily mean it has to be your outside tagline or something that your customers see. I think you can have two different narratives that align and that work for different audiences. So whatever you say externally is one thing, but how do you keep your employees accountable? And it's all about culture. And at YETI, the internal rallying cry is do bold work. It's not innovate, it's not disrupt. They want to do bold work, and they hire people who live this. You can't fake that from the inside, and the audience feels it from the outside. If it doesn't work internally, it will never work externally. And so I love this idea about doing bold work internally so that it can be made for the wild externally. So competitors can copy the products, but they cannot copy the organizing principle. They cannot copy nearly 2 decades of consistent decisions. And that's the moat that YETI has built around them. And that's what's going to continue to compound for them. Now, for anyone out there who's leading a brand or running a brand, what is your built for the wild? Not your tagline or not your mission statement, but what's the organizing principle that actually guides your decisions and all of the team's decisions? What is the filter that keeps your team aligned? Without one, you're just adding SKUs. You're adding more and more products and essentially more noise. And it's not building a brand. So like I said in the very beginning, nobody gets an igloo tattoo. Nobody gets an Arctic tattoo. But people tattoo the YETI logo on their bodies. And that's not a product story, that's brand. And it's the only competitive advantage that compounds.